Chosen one, pause right here. This isn't a random video. You were led to this moment. Heaven has a message with your name written upon it. You've questioned God, did you forget me? Did you change your mind about what you promised? And the answer that's echoing through the Spirit right now is clear. The promise still stands. You've been walking through seasons that looked like silence waiting rooms, that felt endless, and storms that tried to drown the very faith that once burned within you. You've watched others move forward while you stayed behind, and part of you began to wonder if maybe you missed it, if maybe you misunderstood what God said. But the truth is, delay is not denial. God's promise is not fragile. His word does not expire. What he spoke over your life was written in eternal ink, sealed by purpose and preserved by divine timing. Though it has tarried, it will not lie. Though it's been delayed, it will not die. The enemy tried to make you believe that the silence was abandonment, that the waiting was punishment, but it's actually been preparation. Heaven has been aligning people, positioning doors, and protecting what belongs to you. This message is not for everyone. It's for the one who has cried in the midnight hour, wondering why the promise hasn't shown up yet. It's for the one who feels overlooked, forgotten, or left behind. You are not forgotten. You are hidden for preservation. And as you listen, something inside you will begin to awaken again. The faith that felt faint will flicker back to life. The vision you almost buried will breathe again. Because this is your reminder, God hasn't forgotten you. The promise still stands. Stay close until the end, because there's something heaven is about to reveal, a divine confirmation that your waiting season is turning into a birthing season. And right here, in this quiet space between your questions and God's silence, something sacred is happening. The atmosphere is shifting. What felt like distance is turning into divine dialogue. Heaven is leaning close to remind you you were never out of God's sight. Every sigh, every tear, every whispered "Lord, remember me" has been collected. The Father hasn't been ignoring you. He's been orchestrating something beyond what your understanding could carry. His stillness wasn't neglect. It was strategy. There are moments in every destiny when God stops speaking, not because he has nothing to say, but because the next chapter requires you to remember what he already said. You've reached that moment. The word spoken over your life is still alive, breathing, moving through time, aligning everything necessary for its fulfillment. Listen carefully. Heaven doesn't operate on your clock. Earth measures minutes, but heaven measures maturity. What you've called delay, heaven calls development. Every closed door, every long night, every unanswered prayer has been molding you into the vessel that can carry the weight of what was promised. The Spirit of God whispers, "Now I have not changed my mind about you. The covenant still stands. What I planted in your spirit was not a fleeting emotion, it was eternal intention." The reason you've been stretched so fiercely is because the promise is weighty. It's not a small assignment, not a shallow blessing. It carries influence, legacy, and generational impact. That's why you couldn't rush it. Heaven was building endurance into your character, so that when the blessing arrives, it won't crush you. God has been behind the curtain, weaving threads you couldn't see. People were moved in and out of your life because divine choreography demanded it. Places that once felt like punishment were actually protection. While you were asking, "Why am I here?" heaven was answering, "Because here is where you grow." So breathe. The silence is ending. The fog is lifting. You are entering the chapter where what God promised begins to take visible form. You won't have to chase it, it's coming toward you. You won't have to fight for recognition, heaven will announce you. You won't have to prove your worth, the fruit will speak for itself. Let faith settle back into your bones. The same hand that led you into the wilderness is now guiding you out. The same voice that once whispered destiny is now saying, "Rise. It's time to see what I've prepared." So keep listening. Because what comes next isn't theory or hope. It's the unfolding of the very word that kept you alive through the storm. And now, as the veil begins to lift, what was hidden starts to breathe. The promise that once felt like a faint memory is awakening again, steady, deliberate, unstoppable. You can almost feel it humming beneath the surface, like the first tremor before the dawn breaks open. This is what heaven has been preparing for, a moment of divine unveiling. The waiting was not wasted. It was the womb. Everything that seemed still was gestating destiny. And the Spirit of God now says, "It's time." The promise is moving from spoken to seen, from concealed to revealed. The winds are changing direction, no longer against you, but carrying you forward. Every delay has been rewritten into destiny. You have wondered, what if I missed it? But the truth is, you couldn't. The steps of the righteous are ordered, and even detours are secretly directions. Every place you thought was off path was actually God rerouting you to preservation. The prophecy unfolding now is one of divine remembrance. Heaven is bringing back to the surface what life tried to bury. You thought it was over, but it was only underground. Just like a seed, it had to disappear before it could rise. And so God says, "I have seen your perseverance. I have heard the cries you silenced to protect your faith. I have watched you forgive what wounded you, and I call it holy. Because of that, the heavens are now opening over you. The delay has expired. The promise is entering manifestation. The signs of this unfolding will not come with noise, but with quiet precision. You'll notice divine order where there was once chaos, paperwork, aligning hearts, softening resources, appearing without strain. Favor will locate you in places you never lobbied for. The ones who doubted you will witness the resurrection of your promise and know it was God. Not luck, not coincidence, God. Every prophecy requires a stage, and heaven has been building yours in silence. The spotlight you feared was gone, is being restored not for your ego, but for His evidence. When people see what He's doing in you, they'll remember that His word never fails. The Lord says again, "What I promised, I will perform. What I spoke in the secret place will echo in public spaces. You will see what I meant when I said, the latter will be greater than the former." The shift is subtle yet seismic. You may not hear thunder, but your spirit knows something has turned. The weight in the air has changed. The resistance is cracking. Doors that refuse to open are trembling under divine pressure. This unveiling won't require you to strive. It will require you to recognize. Recognition is revelation. The blessing is already in motion. Your role is to perceive it. Some of you will notice restoration in areas long deemed impossible, relationships once cold, rekindling with forgiveness, creative gifts reigniting after years of dormancy, finances stabilizing where there was drought. It's not random. It's redemption. Heaven has declared this your season of visible proof. The invisible faith you've carried is turning tangible. The dream you shelved is being taken off the shelf by divine hands. Even now the Spirit whispers, "What I birthed in you will not die in delay." The promise still stands, and the hour of unveiling has begun. So do not fear the movement that feels unfamiliar. It's not loss, it's transition. The old chapter is closing, but the ink of a new beginning is already wet upon the page. The same God who spoke light into darkness is speaking fulfillment into your life. And as His word moves, nothing, no opposition, no fear, no delay can stand in its way. Take a deep breath. Feel the shift. The promise is no longer waiting on you. It's coming for you. Every divine unveiling carries meaning far deeper than what the eyes can see. What's happening around you is not random. It's sacred choreography. Heaven doesn't simply fulfill promises. It teaches you how to walk inside them. You see, the promise was never just about the blessing, it was about your becoming. God's process has been molding you into someone who can handle what He's releasing. The same way gold must face fire before it shines, destiny must face delay before it's delivered. When the promise seemed silent, heaven wasn't ignoring you. Heaven was educating you. You were learning the language of faith to believe, when there was no sign to worship, when there was no evidence to keep walking, when nothing made sense. That's how spiritual maturity is born. Faith is not proven when everything works. Faith is proven when nothing works and you still trust. The storms you endured weren't designed to destroy you. They were designed to strip away illusion. God allowed certain things to break so you would stop leaning on what was temporary and cling to what was eternal. He had to separate what was real from what was convenient. That's why certain relationships fell away, why some dreams had to die first. Every season of silence was God saying, "Let me show you who I am when there's no one else left to lean on." And when you found yourself alone, crying into the dark, heaven wasn't absent, heaven was listening. You were being prepared to carry presence, not popularity. You were being positioned to walk in revelation, not just recognition. Now every piece of pain carries prophetic purpose. The nights of questioning gave birth to discernment. The wounds turned into wisdom. The tears became oil for your anointing. That's why when you speak now, your words carry a weight they didn't before, because they've been baptized in fire. God doesn't waste anything, not a season, not a heartbreak, not a failure. Each one became an ingredient in the recipe of your restoration. This is the mystery of divine timing. God finishes things before He reveals them. While you were wondering when He would move, He already had. You've been catching up to what heaven already completed. That's why certain doors are suddenly opening, because spiritually, they've been open for a long time. Your alignment is finally matching the promise. There's something powerful about divine alignment. It's when your heart, your obedience, and your faith finally sync with heaven's rhythm. You can feel it, that inner peace that tells you, I don't have to force this anymore. That's the sign that the season has shifted. When striving ends, manifestation begins. You are stepping into a dimension where peace becomes proof. You won't have to chase what's yours. What's yours will recognize you. The energy you once wasted trying to make things happen will now return to you as favor that flows effortlessly. This is the depth of what God's been teaching you. Promise is not a place. It's a posture. It's not a destination on a map. It's the condition of your heart. When your spirit aligns with His will, the promise finds you. So many of the things you lost weren't punishment, they were pruning. God was trimming away branches that no longer produced fruit, even if they looked alive, because He loves you too much to let you carry dead weight into your new season. That's why peace has felt strange lately, because you're used to surviving, not receiving. But heaven says, you're not in survival anymore. You're in stewardship. The old you needed to prove yourself. The new you only needs to obey. The old you hustled for approval. The new you walks in assurance. Everything that felt like breaking was actually birthing. Everything that felt delayed was divine design. You've been walking through the middle of prophecy, the part no one celebrates, the silent phase between promise and performance. But that middle was molding you into the evidence of God's faithfulness. Now you carry something that can't be taken. The revelation that God truly does finish what He starts. So when fulfillment comes, you won't worship the blessing, you'll worship the one who stayed constant through every season. you'll realize that the greatest miracle wasn't that the promise arrived. It's that you became the kind of person who could receive it without losing yourself. That's the spiritual depth of what's unfolding. You didn't just survive delay, you've been transformed by it. And as heaven watches your spirit whispers the truth aloud, I see now. Every silence had purpose. Every waiting season carried wisdom. And through it all, the promise never left. It was waiting for me to become ready. When heaven begins to move, it never does so in silence. Creation starts to echo the will of God. You begin to notice small ripples, holy hints that the invisible is becoming visible. They don't shout, they whisper. Yet if you listen with your spirit, you'll hear them clearly. The first sign is inner stillness. Suddenly the weight you've carried feels lighter. The same situations that once triggered anxiety no longer hold power over you. That peace isn't apathy, it's divine assurance. The storm hasn't necessarily ended, but your soul knows who's steering the boat. The second sign is synchronicity. Patterns start weaving through your days. Numbers repeating verses appearing in different places. Familiar phrases echoing through random conversations. You smile because you know heaven is speaking your language. God is confirming that the alignment has begun. The third sign is divine reconnection. People from old chapters return not to reopen wounds, but to close them with healing. Others you never expected to meet arrive right on time, carrying resources, wisdom, or favor that accelerate your next step. It's as if the universe itself is reintroducing the right cast for the new act of your story. The fourth sign is revived vision. Dreams you buried begin to stir again. You find yourself sketching plans, journaling ideas, or feeling the fire to start what once scared you. That sudden creativity is heaven breathing on what once felt dead. The fifth sign is unusual favor. What once required striving begins to flow easily. Paperwork clears, emails are answered. Opportunities call your name without campaigning for them. Doors swing open with grace instead of grind. Favor becomes the fingerprint of fulfillment. The sixth sign is holy hunger. Your spirit begins craving the presence of God again, not out of obligation, but out of longing. Worship feels deeper. Prayer feels alive. The scriptures you read suddenly speak directly into your circumstance. That hunger is the Spirit drawing you close before manifestation arrives. And there's one more sign: divine acceleration. Time itself seems to compress. What should take months happens in weeks. What was waiting for approval suddenly gets green-lit. You can't explain it logically, but you can feel it prophetically. All of these are confirmations, not coincidences. They are heaven's gentle taps on your shoulders saying, I'm fulfilling what I promised. So when you notice them, pause, acknowledge them. Whisper, I see you, Lord. That simple recognition multiplies the movement. Gratitude is a magnet for more grace. And even if your surroundings look unchanged, know this: the unseen world is in motion. The promise has left the throne room. It's traveling toward you even now. This is not imagination. This is divine evidence, heaven announcing that fulfillment has entered your atmosphere. Stay awake. Stay sensitive. Because the signs are not coming, they're already here. And yet even as signs begin to unfold, the journey doesn't end there. Because every promise carries pressure. Every open door has a threshold you must step through, and sometimes that crossing is where the final testing takes place. The closer you move toward fulfillment, the louder the resistance becomes. Not because you're failing, but because you're breaking through. You'll notice this paradox. The signs of blessing will appear at the same time as the whispers of doubt. Light and shadow side by side. That's the tension of transition, when the old season fights to hold on, while the new one pulls you forward. Some days you'll wake up full of faith, ready to run. Other days, you'll wonder if anything is moving at all. Don't be alarmed. This is the rhythm of birthing. Even in nature, contractions come in waves. So does destiny. Hidden challenges often rise quietly, sudden fatigue that makes you question your strength. Unexpected criticism from people who don't understand your shift. Old temptations resurfacing to see if you've really grown. Moments of silence when heaven feels distant again, testing your endurance. But every one of these is an invitation not to quit, but to deepen trust. God isn't testing you to expose weakness. He's refining you to prove readiness. He allows pressure so that purpose can expand. Without resistance, growth remains theory. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. Think about it. Before David wore the crown, he faced the lion, the bear, and the giant. Before Joseph ruled Egypt, he endured betrayal, slavery, and prison. Before Jesus rose in glory, he endured the cross. Every great unveiling comes wrapped in contradiction. The pain of the process confirms the power of the promise. And if lately you've felt unseen again, don't panic. God often hides those he's about to elevate. Obscurity is his shield. The spotlight will come soon enough. Right now, he's fortifying your spirit so you can stand in what's coming without collapsing under its weight. So when warfare intensifies, when fatigue creeps in, when opposition rises from nowhere, smile. It means the promise is close enough to threaten the enemy's comfort. Hold your ground. Keep your worship pure. Keep your focus clear. You've come too far to surrender now. The challenges won't last. They're contractions before birth. And once this labor breaks, nothing will hold back what's been promised to you. And now, breathe again. The storm may have tested you, but this is where wisdom speaks. Heaven never allows a battle without releasing a blueprint. When God begins to move, he doesn't just confirm, he instructs. Because prophecy without preparation can't survive pressure. So listen carefully. These are the divine steps to walk in. Now the sacred strategy for this season of fulfillment. First, stay anchored in gratitude. Gratitude is not just manners, it's alignment. When you thank God for what's unseen, you're telling the heavens, I trust the process. Every moment of thanksgiving builds a bridge between where you are and where the promise lives. Begin your mornings not with complaint, but with remembrance. Whisper, you've been faithful before. You'll be faithful again. Gratitude changes the frequency around you. It calls miracles closer. Second, guard your atmosphere. The higher you rise, the more sensitive the air becomes. Not everyone can breathe at the altitude of your calling. Protect your peace. Don't explain your promise to those who were never meant to carry it. Isolation in this season isn't rejection, it's preservation. God is hiding you, not to starve you, but to strengthen you. Third, keep your confession pure. Words are gateways. What you declare now shapes what appears next. You cannot speak doubt and expect destiny. Heaven is echoing every syllable that leaves your lips. So let your language match your prophecy. Declare aloud, the promise still stands. God has not forgotten me. My waiting is turning into fulfillment. Say it even when you don't feel it, because words create reality before sight confirms it. Fourth, act in faith. Preparation is the highest form of belief. Noah built before rain. Abraham packed before location. Ruth followed before reward. Move in expectation. If you've been praying for opportunity, start organizing. If you've been believing for breakthrough, prepare space for it. Faith is not passive, it's prophetic action in motion. Fifth, choose stillness over striving. You don't have to force what's already yours. The same God who opened the Red Sea doesn't need your panic, he needs your posture. Be still, not because nothing is happening, but because everything is. Rest is not inactivity, it's trust in motion. When you rest, heaven works double time. Sixth, stay connected to the source. When blessing starts to flow, the temptation will be to move faster than the one who gave it. But the power that brings you into promise is the same power that must sustain you there. Keep intimacy higher than influence. Keep prayer deeper than performance. The more God gives, the closer you cling. And finally, seventh, walk in discernment. Not every door that opens is divine, and not every invitation is destiny. In seasons of favor, deception often disguises itself as opportunity. Before you step, pause and ask, Lord, is this you? If peace doesn't follow, patience should. Divine timing never needs manipulation. These are not just spiritual guidelines, they are survival codes for glory. Every instruction carries protection. Every act of obedience opens a new layer of favor. You've prayed for the promise now. Heaven is asking for your preparation. This is how you partner with prophecy, not by waiting passively, but by walking intentionally. And even when you feel tired, when you don't see the fruit, yet remember, obedience is never wasted. God rewards faithfulness long before results appear. You're planting invisible seeds that will bloom when the time is right. So stay faithful. Stay grateful. Stay grounded. You're not working for the promise, you're working with the one who gave it. And he says again, do not grow weary in doing good, for in due season you shall reap if you faint not. This is your due season. The instruction has been delivered. The atmosphere is set. Now heaven is watching for your response. Not perfection, just participation. Because when obedience meets timing, miracles have no choice but to manifest. And as you walk out these instructions, let peace settle over you like a mantle. Because the God who promised is also the God who protects. He never sends you into a season unguarded. What he ordains, he defends. Even now there are angels assigned to your path, silent sentinels stationed at every intersection of your destiny. They've been with you longer than you know, intercepting danger, blocking traps, and clearing unseen debris from your way. You didn't survive by luck. You were kept. Some of the closed doors that frustrated you were actually shields. Some of the relationships that faded were divine extractions. Heaven saw what you couldn't. While you were asking for clarity, God was granting protection. His mercy moved faster than your understanding. There is a circle of light around those who trust him, a holy perimeter that darkness cannot penetrate. That's why certain attacks failed before they began. You never saw the battle because heaven handled it in the unseen. You may have felt moments of fear, but fear never conquered you. That's proof of divine preservation. The promise doesn't travel alone. It carries protection like armor. Every word God speaks is escorted by his power to perform it. So rest, not in apathy, but in assurance. The hand that holds the galaxies is holding you too. When anxiety rises, remember this: you are not walking toward security, you're walking within it. Let these words anchor you: no weapon formed against you shall prosper. He gives his angels charge over you. The Lord will perfect that which concerns you. Repeat them until they sink into your heartbeat. Speak them until fear loses language. You don't have to watch your back. He already is. You don't have to fight every rumor or defend every misunderstanding. Heaven fights differently, quietly, completely, and victoriously. And if darkness tries to whisper that you're alone, silence it with truth. God's presence is not seasonal. He's the same in the valley as he is on the mountain. He's the same in the delay as he will be in the deliverance. Even your sleep is sacred. While you rest, heaven works. While you dream, the promise advances. While you breathe, the plan continues. So release the tension in your chest. The pressure isn't yours to carry. You are not responsible for making the prophecy happen, only for believing it. God has already surrounded you with everything needed for fulfillment: favor, protection, timing, and grace. You are safe. You are seen. You are shielded. The storm will pass, but the promise will remain untouched, unstoppable, unbreakable. And now, this is the part heaven has been leading you toward all along. The turning of the tide. The fulfillment of what once felt like fantasy. The moment when invisible prayers begin to take visible shape. You'll know it when it comes. It won't arrive with fireworks, but with a stillness that feels like home. A peace that whispers, "This is what I promised." The transformation won't only be external, it will be you. You won't just receive the promise. You'll realize you've become the person it required. The waiting didn't just prepare circumstances, it prepared your character. Your heart will feel lighter, your discernment sharper, your faith unshakable. And as you step into fulfillment, gratitude will flood you. You'll look back at the storms that once terrified you and see how every one of them was training. The rejection was redirection. The silence was strategy. The delay was development. The version of you that once begged for clarity will finally understand. God never forgot. He was formatting your life to hold the blessing without breaking. Doors will open quietly, perfectly timed. Opportunities will appear without force. The same places that once rejected you will call your name. You won't need to prove yourself. The fruit will testify for you. It will happen so naturally that others will call it sudden. But you'll know it wasn't sudden, it was sovereign. Years of invisible faith now manifesting in one visible moment. And it won't just bless you, it will overflow. Your testimony will become a roadmap for others still waiting. People will say, "I saw what God did for them." Maybe He hasn't forgotten me either. You will walk into rooms that used to intimidate you and carry peace like authority. You will speak with the quiet confidence of one who's seen God's hand and knows His voice. Fulfillment won't look like striving. It will look like stillness in motion, every step guided, every detail aligned. You'll feel like the story wrote itself, but deep down, you'll remember you lived every page. There will be laughter again, genuine from the soul laughter that sounds like freedom. You'll find yourself singing in places you once cried. You'll realize that joy was never lost. It was waiting on the other side of surrender. And as you stand there in the promise, you'll whisper, "This is what He meant. This is why I had to wait." Because the waiting didn't just deliver a blessing, it delivered you into wholeness. You'll see that God's goal was never simply to give you what you wanted, but to give you what would last. The transformation will be visible, yes, but it will also be internal. Confidence without arrogance, strength without hardness, peace without passivity. And when others ask how it happened, you'll smile and say, "It was God, only God." Because no formula, no favor, no human hand could have done this. Only divine timing, only love that refuses to fail. So step gently into your fulfillment. You don't need to announce it, just walk in it. Heaven already knows. And the same God who brought you here will keep you here, sustaining, guiding, protecting, multiplying. The promise still stands. And now, it's standing with you. Take a deep breath. You've walked through the fire and found your gold. You've stood in the silence and discovered God's voice. You've waited in faith, and now you stand on holy ground, the edge of fulfillment. This is the moment to anchor everything heaven has spoken with declaration. Because words carry power, and faith is activated through sound. So speak these truths aloud, let them echo beyond your walls. 1. The promise still stands. Even when I can't see it, even when I don't feel it, it stands. What God said He meant. What He started, He will complete. 2. God has not forgotten me. My name is written on His hands. My story is still unfolding. Heaven knows exactly where I am, and nothing about me has been overlooked. 3. My waiting is turning into fulfillment. Every delay is transforming into delivery. The doors that were locked are swinging open. The timing is aligning. The word is manifesting. 4. Everything God promised will come to pass. Not one syllable will return void. Not one prayer will go unanswered. What was delayed is being delivered not someday, but now, in divine order. Let those affirmations breathe in you. Let them become rhythm in your steps, fire in your prayers, and light in your path. You've waited long enough with tears. Now you will wait with expectation. You've fought long enough in survival. Now you will walk in stability. You've questioned long enough in darkness. Now you will see with clarity. And as this word settles in your spirit, receive this blessing. May peace clothe your mind like morning light. May strength return to your bones and hope to your heart. May every unfinished promise in your life begin to unfold in divine acceleration. May favor locate you, surround you, and overflow from you. And may the presence of God walk before you, beside you, and within you always. No matter where you stand today, remember the promise didn't expire. It matured. And now you are standing in the very moment heaven has been preparing for you all along. So rise, step forward, walk in it. Because the promise still stands, and God has not forgotten you.